A mighty oak has fallen, but from its corns, many more mighty oaks will grow. Today is a special day. We will discuss the historical aspect of it later. But let us first remember Mr. Merrill Fernando, a visionary entrepreneur and a great champion of Ceylon tea. His profound impact on the tea world, his humanitarian efforts, were recognized by international organizations and will be remembered and celebrated. Together, today, we acknowledge, learn from, and strive to emulate his achievements. So let us commence by rising and observing a moment's silence in his memory. It's great to see leadership of the past, leadership of the future here in the room. And it's an important aspect of the CTTA. It is important that once again, we understand the context in which Mr. Fernando achieved all of this and gave so much to the trade and our country at large. Having had a ringside seat of the progress, the ups and downs, many of us see the great buildings, the bands on the shelves, and forget the roots and how these were built one teabagging machine at a time, one structure at a time, building people, building brands. Many of us think that if you're lucky, we come up with a pretty designed and it's going to be seen and recognized by the world. So all of us, at least speaking for myself, are students of the case study of the life of Mr. Merrill Fernando.
It's a privilege indeed to be here and speak a few words at this commemorative sitting on behalf of a doyen of the Sri Lankan tea industry. I had a glimpse of, I read a couple of chapters of the book that he wrote just before he passed away. Realized that he has joined the trade in 1950, even before I was born. And over the years, but within a short time, in fact, he wanted to do something totally different from the run of things in the tea industry of Sri Lanka. He wanted to do from here what the colonial masters were doing with our product, which was going from here as a raw material. So Merrill saw things differently and went on to do what he did. And here we have, in certain airlines, in many hotels around the world, and many supermarkets around the world, which of course is a daunting task, I can see, because he was always on Pure Ceylon Tea. Sri Lanka was losing the Australian market, just to quote one example. And the reason being, with the nationalization that took place about 2 years before I joined the trade, brought in as Anselm would always agree with me, brought in a whole load of disaster for the industry. But by 89, 90, 92, we came back on the Australian shelves, and that was through Dilmah, for which, from the point of the Sri Lankan tea industry and on our personal behalf of Sri Lanka Tea Board, we are greatly indebted to this gentleman for what he did for Ceylon tea. Once when I met him, had a discussion, he told me, Niraj, when I go to a market, I go and look at the shelf and I see what is on eye level, which is where the best of the teas, the highest priced teas are stored on the shelves. And I see X brand and Y brand and whatever, and they are at, let's say for example, $5.49. I am Pure Ceylon Tea, so therefore I will come there at $5.99 because I want to make the difference. And that stuck in my mind of what he did. I raised my hat to this gentleman for what he did for us during his lifetime.
And I used to come to Mr. Fernando, asking him to pack the tea bags for me. He always, very graciously, I used to go to him, he used to always sometimes stop his orders and pack my orders for me when it was urgent. So I will now read the citation on behalf of Chairman CTTA. As a tribute to late Deshamania Merrill J. Fernando, we, the Colombo Tea Traders Association, present this citation to celebrate the remarkable life and indelible contributions he has made as a true visionary and luminary in the realm of tea. His legacy is one that resonates across time and borders, a testament to his unwavering commitment to excellence, innovation, and passion for tea. The journey of this legendary personality was one of fervent dedication and pioneering spirit, etched into the annals of Ceylon's history. As the founder of Dilmah Tea, an identity that brings pride to Sri Lanka, he redefined the industry landscape, transcending convention and bringing a refreshing force of authenticity to global tea culture. He championed the principles of ethical tea production and marketing, ensuring that every leaf bore not just the mark of excellence, but also a story of integrity and compassion. He was immensely responsible for the growth of the value-added tea industry in Sri Lanka, as his success inspired others to follow in his footsteps. Mr. Fernando's unyielding commitment to quality, combined with innovative marketing, propelled Dilmah and Ceylon Tea to unprecedented heights, elevating it to a name and standard admired and relished across continents. His inspiring efforts to nurture sustainability and empowered local communities epitomizes his boundless empathy, transforming the lives of countless individuals across the nation. His commitment to conservation and responsibility of cultivation standards as a testament of his foresight and sense of responsibility towards our planet. The vision of Mr. Fernando extends beyond the tea fields, touching hearts and leaving an indelible mark through his philanthropic endeavors. His commitment to education, healthcare, and social welfare illuminated paths of hope for those less privileged, bringing a brighter future for generations to come. We, the members of the Colombo Tea Traders Association, reflecting upon his remarkable life, stand indebted to Mr. Merrill J. Fernando for his unassailable dedication to Ceylon Tea. He will remain a beacon of inspiration for all who tread the path of excellence in marketing and in the service to humanity. In hallowed pages of history, Deshamania Merrill J. Fernando's name shall forever remain intertwined with the rolling green hills of Sri Lanka and their aromatic breezes and the cherished flavor of Ceylon tea. Let us, with profound respect and gratitude, salute the life and work of this exemplary man whose contributions have enriched the lives of so many immeasurably. Let us rejoice in remembering his legacy so that generations to come will continue to be inspired by his dedication to Ceylon tea and his commitment to serve humanity.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of my brother, our families, my colleagues, we are incredibly humbled by the felicitation that the CTTA has extended to my father, and also thank the chairman of the tea board for his kind words. Every great industry is formed on the commitment and the passion of great people. Mr. Abbas Akbar Ali, my father, so many others who are represented by those present here and who have been in this room. And for my father, his was truly a devotion, a lifetime devoted to tea. And for many of you, I think you also experienced, as did Anil, sometimes Niraj and others, the strength and the ferocity of my father's belief in Ceylon tea. But many misunderstood that as a form of belligerence. It was to an extent, because for my father, there was nothing beyond quality. There was no compromise that was possible. But the assurance I have for you is that with that same belligerence, he took Ceylon tea to the world. I have stood by him, traveled with him for 20 years initially, carrying his bags, thereafter taking down notes, but always being with him amongst buyers, when he always explained, I have the finest tea in the world. It must be offered at the right value. And exactly as Niraj shared, he would always look at the competition and say, look, I'm not competing with the number one. I'm not trying to be the biggest. I want to be the best because I believe in Ceylon tea. And it is that which has given us the strength. It is that which gave us the ability to enter the Australian market with confidence, which my father did. And I must apologize, Niraj, we had a correction. Our records were incorrect. It wasn't 1988. It was, in fact, September 1985 that Dilmah entered the Australian market. And the same for New Zealand. But it is that has given us the foundation and the courage to be able to take Dilmah beyond to unconventional markets. Yes, a mighty oak has fallen. And yes, the oak is going to be perpetuated in philosophy, and it is going to be emulated. And the reason for that is that the values that my father ingrained without compromise into my brother and I will, without question, continue through our generations. And I can tell you, whether it concerns Ceylon tourism or Sri Lanka tourism or Ceylon tea, the standard that my father established is one that cannot be compromised, because he formed such a firm foundation in our business. He formed in the foundation, in the MJF Foundation, he formed an irrevocable commitment to kindness, to people, to nature. You see that manifest a couple of weeks ago in our invitation to join us in our journey in sustainability. You see that in the hundreds of millions that every year are spent on the health, welfare, benefit, on supporting entrepreneurs in Sri Lanka, and more in the area of the environment. But ultimately, what we should celebrate today is a great Sri Lankan who stood for Sri Lanka, who understood the value of Sri Lanka, and who fearlessly championed that value. He did it with a level of confidence, whether it was confronting media in the UK, which is almost barren where it concerns Ceylon tea, whether it concerns the US, again a similar situation. He did it with absolute conviction that Ceylon tea is the finest on earth. Now I know we have our internal differences and our internal concerns, and Niraj set those out much better than I could. And I think the best way to honor that memory, not only of my father, but also the other great men who formed the foundation of our great Ceylon tea industry, is to make a commitment to reforming that foundation that Niraj mentioned is today weak and needs support. I think, as Dr. Daya, as Daya Vikramatunga often reminds us, some of the basics are what contribute to the quality and are what are necessary today, even as we look to the future of our industry. But also we must remember that rebuilding that foundation is what will sustain the livelihoods of millions. And in the future, I have often tried to contemplate what could life be without Ceylon tea. It's quite difficult to comprehend. However much we say that the brand of Ceylon tea is eroded, yes, it is. There is a new generation that doesn't recognize Ceylon tea. It is. But every facet of the history, the heritage, the livelihoods involved, and the authenticity, the variety in Ceylon tea are perfectly aligned with the preferences and what a new generation of beverage consumer tells us, whether it is a millennial or a Gen Zer. We work a lot with consumers directly, and I can assure you that if we were to undertake some of those corrective actions that Niraj shared, there is a consumer who will not only accept but embrace, because our industry has an unparalleled heritage. It has an unparalleled offer in terms of the taste, the diversity, the wellness, and it has a very intricate interrelationship with the livelihoods of people. And today, conscious consumption is something that is an overriding concern in every area, in every grocery category. It is conscious, authentic, ethical, sustainable product that is winning. And it's no longer the big brands. It is the small brands that represent these with sincerity. So in conclusion, I want to thank each of you, and I want to thank the CTTA for honoring our father and Amrit's grandfather in this way. And I think that remembering that this great industry has, as part of its foundation, the commitment, the love, the efforts, and in my father's case, the faith of several formidable individuals, I think the best thing that we can do to honor or possibly take that citation into action is to work towards rebuilding our industry, and remembering also that united we will stand, but divided we will fall.